Hello everyone. Welcome to the first stream for the My First Game Jam. I'm going to pop up some slides for you guys. Perfect. All right. So today is just going to be kind of an introduction to the My First Game Jam. For those of you who aren't sure what this is, basically it's just a game jam that some Replit reps are hosting. You can find more info here at the link in the chat. And yeah, so let's get into it. So how does a game jam typically work? So typically what happens in a game jam is everybody builds a game during the time that you're given. In this case, you're given 2 weeks to build your game. And yeah, so that's really what happens in game jam. But then what you do is your game has to follow the given theme. So you're going to be given a theme, which I will provide that theme at the end of today's stream. And so you follow that theme. And then once you finish your game, you submit your game to the website. And what happens then is we're going to look at all the games and we're going to kind of pick out the best ones and we're going to hand out some prizes to the games that we thought were the best. And again, like I mentioned, you can win some hacker plan for it. Okay, so we have quite a packed schedule planned for this game jam. So here's how it's going to work. So today is the day that the theme's announced and the jam begins. And again, I will be announcing the theme at the end of the stream. And the last day to submit your game is October 11th at midnight PST. And then on October 14th is when we will be announcing the winners. Hello there. Okay. So, like I said, we have quite a packed schedule for this jam. So the goal with this jam is we want this to be your first ever game or your first ever game jam. So we have a timeline of live streams where we're going to teach you some stuff about how to build games. So today is the first stream. So, September 27th. And all streams will be starting at 2 p.m. PST. And they'll last no longer than an hour. And to answer your question in the chat there will be prizes. I'll get to those in just a moment. But yeah, you can win some hacker plan. Yeah, so we'll give out a few months of that. And I'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, so the first live stream is today, Introduction to My First Game Jam, September 27th, I'm sorry. And then tomorrow, we're going to kind of get into more talking about how to actually build a game. So we're going to talk more about kind of video game logic, like what makes up games that you have probably played, things like that. And that'll be And that'll be actually at 4 p.m. So again, there are a couple exceptions here, but so this one will be at 4 p.m. Tomorrow. But then the rest are at 2. So then on September 29th, we're going to talk a little bit about the basics of Kaboom JS. You don't have to use Kaboom JS to build your game, just to clarify, but it is a very beginner-friendly library, so we very much encourage it. And then on September 30th, also at 2 p.m., we're going to explore kind of some mechanics with Kaboom JS. So just how you might implement different things like physics type of things. Nothing terribly complex, but it'll be just kind of an introduction to that kind of thing. And then on the 4th, so we're kind of skipping some time here. So on the 4th at 2 p.m., we're going to have a building workshop. And this one may last longer than an hour because we're just going to kind of build a game. It'll be all live, so it won't be a complex game, but we do want to provide some examples. So on October 4th, we'll be doing that. And then lastly, on October 14th, we will have the wrap up for the My First Game Jam. And this is when we'll announce the winners and all of that good stuff. So there are some guidelines as well. And just to clarify, all of this can be found at that link in the chat. But again, I did kind of just want to introduce it today for those of you that are more visual. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll take a look at them. So there are some guidelines for those of you who have never been in a game jam before. It has to be hosted on Replit. So we have to be able to run your REPL and then, play the game entirely on Replit. And it has to be submitted in this particular game jam by October 11th, midnight. And then you have to publish your game to the community with the tag Replit First Game Jam. And you also have to submit it to the website. I know it's a little overwhelming. It's not really, though. All of these are pretty simple. But again, your game has to follow the theme. Now, to give some examples of that, for those of you who have never done a game jam, if the theme was maybe space, that isn't the theme, just clarifying, but if the theme were to be space, maybe you would go and build a space shooter game where, you go around and you have to maybe, capture planets or something. So you kind of build it around the theme. Now, the theme's open to interpretation. So if you maybe interpreted space as a large room, maybe with a lot of space in it, that would technically be valid. So just be creative. And then also a very important requirement, no exceptions at all. You have to have fun. So, if you don't have fun, then yeah, I'm not sure we can accept your submission. But in all seriousness, though, yeah, it's just we want you to have fun building your first game and learn it all. Now, some of you have already asked about the prizes. So let's talk about that briefly. So the big prize is that we will be giving away 3 months of Hacker Plan to 2 different winners. So what will happen is me and Danie. Danie is the other person who is hosting this. And we will be giving away 3 months of Hacker Plan to 2 different winners. So 6 months total. But we may also give away more. So, just keep that in your mind. But at least 3 months to 2 different winners. And in addition to that, we'll just have a fun little virtual trophy. So, you can do whatever you want with it. Just, print it out. I don't know. It's just kind of for fun. But then the next thing I want to talk about is the theme. So let's talk about, oh wait, I was just saying that. No, okay, so we're actually going to talk about Kaboom a little. Sorry about that. Okay, so Kaboom. So for those of you who have never used Kaboom, why don't you guys tell me in the chat? Tell me, have you used Kaboom before? Or have you not? Because I'm kind of curious. But for those of you who don't know, what Kaboom is it's called a library. And it's a JavaScript library that helps you make games fast and fun, which is what this game jam's all about. So you can check out like some documentation and stuff on their website. Oh, cool. So we have kind of a mix. So we have some who haven't and some who do or have used it. Yeah. So if you haven't used it before, like I said, we'll be having some streams to teach you about it. So no worries at all. But I can promise you it's fast and fun indeed. Okay, so let's just take a quick look. Just kind of to show you very briefly Kaboom. Nothing in depth. We'll look at it mostly on the next days. But let's just look at Kaboom real quick. So you can go to their website at kaboomjs.com. And here is where you will find all the documentation you'll need to get started. So if you're feeling adventurous and you want to start learning, this has all the resources you need. So like it has an example right here. And then you can see here you have all of this. If this looks stressful, don't worry, it's not. But you can see everything you can use in Kaboom on this left sidebar. And if you have used Kaboom, then you're probably already aware of this. But if you haven't, then again, you can visit the docs here and read up on it. There's also a playground where you can see different examples. And we're going to play around with these later on a different stream. This stream's going to be pretty brief. It's just like, again, the introduction to Kaboom. But in some future streams, we're going to take a look at some of these. So you can see, for example, one of the things that you might want to build with Kaboom is maybe a platformer. So you can go through, get the apple, and then you can, jump around, get the coins. So you can build super cool stuff like this with Kaboom. Hello, Lena. Oh, and also, there will also be a recording of this on the Replit YouTube channel. So for those of you who may have missed any part of this, you can always go back and rewatch it later. But again, everything today is also listed on the website. But you can build cool games like this, or maybe something like Pong. Let me know in the chat, out of curiosity, if you guys have any ideas for games that you'd like to kind of experiment with. Because, again, we're going to be playing around with Kaboom in some future streams. So if you have any demos you'd like to see in particular, or anything you'd like to see us make, like, maybe Flappy Bird or Pong, feel free to let me know. So that's kind of Kaboom. So again, you can use it. You can look at all the documentation here if you're feeling adventurous to just get started. But if not, that's fine too, because we'll be introducing it in a couple of days here. Now, the moment that you all have been waiting for. But this time, I'm not just saying that. So we're going to announce the theme now. So again, as a reminder, the theme, for those of you who have never done a game jam, is the thing that you build your game around. So again, if the theme was like space, you would build, maybe like a space shooter where, something with planets and, aliens, I don't know. And yeah, so this is what you send your game around. The theme for this particular game jam is the suspense. The theme is more suspense. What's the theme? Okay, so the theme of this game jam is favorite animal. So again, open to interpretation. And yeah, so that's the theme. So you can all be excited to see the games that you guys come up with this theme. And again, we will be building a demo on, what was it? I will go back to schedule then. But anyways, that is actually all I have for you today. I know it was pretty brief. We will have longer streams in the future. I just wanted to give you guys a quick introduction to everything. But if you would like to join us tomorrow, we'll be just exploring video game logic again. So we'll be talking about like the basics of how video games work in general. Just maybe things like pixels and how you can have like scenes and sprites for those of you who know what all that stuff is. And if you don't, then join us tomorrow and at 4 p.m. PST, and we'll do that. Are there any questions at all or any slides you'd like to see again? And again, all of these are available on the website for the game jam. But otherwise, oh yes, and I apologize for the clicking in the background. In case you missed it, here's the timeline for live streams. And I'll just wait a moment more in case there's any questions. All right. So if that's it then that wraps up this stream. Again, join us tomorrow. 4 p.m. PST for Video Game Logic. Thanks everyone for coming. And yeah, I also can't wait to see your guys' games. It's going to be so much fun over the next few weeks. And that about wraps it up. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.